Bo Fisher. I'm the owner of Fisher and Weens Wealth Management. I've been a financial advisor and wealth manager for a couple decades now, and there are some truths about building wealth. And if we can apply these from when we're in our 20s all the way through retirement, there's a really good chance you're going to need somebody like me to help manage the wealth you've been able to accumulate. So since I'm talking to 20-year-olds, I brought in two 20-year-old interns, both Colin and Austin, who are going to help me explain these topics. First, we're going to talk about getting a job. Next, we're going to talk about why debt is so detrimental to building actual wealth. And then we're going to talk about investing and saving long term. So let's jump right into it.
Mom and Dad, get away. Get a good job with more pay and you're okay.
Well, the first thing about building wealth is you need income. So we need to get a job. Now that job can be really anything to start off with. Yes, we want a big career with a big salary, but getting a job even at a cafe where you're going to learn something and make some income, or delivering pizzas as a side hustle. Now, I'm not talking about asking mom and dad for money. That's not what I'm talking about. A true job where they're paying you to do a service or create some products, that's super important. Because once you have income, we can start building that foundation towards wealth building. That's investing, saving, etc. Debt, however, is exactly opposite. You're taking future dollars and you're pulling them in today and using them up. So to be truly great at anything, we need to work hard today to make our future better. So I'll give you an example of sports. If you practice hard, you're going to be better in the game. Or in school, you study hard, you're going to do a better job on that test. And that's true in finances. Credit cards are all about buying something today and paying it back in the future. Credit cards are notorious for wealth reduction, if I could use that term. And the reason I say that is because, one, you're using future dollars today, but also we often spend more when we don't feel the pain of what we're spending. A credit card you throw on the table and you're going to think, oh, I'll just pay it back later. And we often spend more using a credit card than if you actually just use the cash that you had in your wallet. You need to be super careful when you use your credit cards. I would rather you not have a credit card at all. The next thing that we often buy in our 20s that often carries debt is a car. So let's talk about that. There's always this great allure to buy a great car in your 20s. The problem with that is cars go down in value. So it is a wealth reducer, not a wealth builder. And in your 20s, that is really detrimental long term, especially if you take a loan out. So let's take the idea of buying a $40,000 car and you take a loan out from the bank at 5%. By the time you're done paying off that car, you spent well over $46,000 for a car that's only worth 40 grand. But even worse, the idea of that car going down in value is the fact that it's probably worth only $20,000 by the time you have it paid off. Half of what you paid for it. All the years that you're paying that debt down to the bank, that bank is just waiting. It's buzzing around, waiting for that payment every month. That bank does not care whether you have medical bills, if you've lost your job, if you have other issues going on. They want that monthly payment.
Leave me alone!
There's a pressure to have to pay every month that payment for that car. So financially, it just doesn't make sense to go into a loan for a car. Now, I'm not saying that you can't ever own a $40,000 car. I want you to have great cars, but you need to do it in the right order. You need to be able to pay cash for a car. So our first savings goal needs to first and foremost be an emergency fund. So an emergency fund is somewhere between 3 to 6 months of your living expenses. That's rent, food, your transportation. You add all those necessities up and you multiply by 3 to 6 months. Now that may seem like a pretty high goal, but we want to use the snowball effect to where we're going to save a little bit of money and then again, do it again the next month and the next month. And pretty soon that snowball starts to accumulate and we have enough now to save for our emergency fund. Now that emergency fund should be in cash in the bank. We're not going to invest that. It's for an emergency.
I think I really need an emergency saving.
There's something called the Murphy's Law. Murphy's Law says that everything that can go wrong will go wrong. It's a little fatalistic for my belief, but I do understand the concept, which is life happens. Things happen all the time. So let's talk about Steve. Steve, for an example, he's got a great paying job. He's doing well. And he doesn't spend a lot of money on clothing or going out to restaurants. And he saw this great sale on a new TV, so he went out and bought it. Spent about $1,200 on this 70-inch 4K plasma TV. He wants to play video games, stream movies, etc. Unfortunately, Murphy came and visited his job, and he lost that job. They were downsizing. Steve got laid off without any warning. A couple weeks later, Steve had rent due, and he didn't go out and get a new job. And Steve found himself without a job, without a place to live, and a big TV. So let's not be like Steve. Now, without an emergency fund, we all could be like Steve. That's the point of having that emergency fund, that when Murphy comes knocking, we're all going to be okay. Now we can start talking about truly building wealth. So investing is one of the best ways to truly build wealth. And investing may feel like it's for people with millions of dollars on Wall Street, but that's not true. Investing is for everybody. Investing specifically is for your retirement. Now, retirement may seem light years away, and it really is when you're in your 20s, but it's going to come faster than you think. And the reason it's so important when you're young is because of compounding interest. Compounding interest is extremely important because it's allowing your money to grow and allow the growth to grow. So let me explain to you what that means and what that looks like. If you save even $300 a month, and let's say that you do that for 5 years, but then you stop. And you start that at 20 and you stop it at 25 years old. That means you're going to only have saved $18,000. It's not a lot of money. But watch how compounding interest takes that 18 grand and turns it into well over $1 million. I'm not suggesting that you actually stop investing $300 a month. If you did that over a lifetime, or your career, I should say, you're going to end up with over $3 million. There's an old Chinese proverb that says, many, many small drops can make a mighty ocean. And in this scenario, $300 a month? Yeah, that's a small drop when you're in a pretty substantial career. But the mighty ocean, that's millions of dollars. So make sure that we save and save and save towards our retirement. It doesn't have to be a significant amount of money, but it has to be money over a lifetime. My recommendation is that you save 15% of your household income towards retirement every year. Once that's taken care of, now we can talk about other savings goals. So now that we have our retirement savings off and running, we can talk about shorter term savings goals. Once again, retirement's when we're 65, but we have other things in life that we want to save for. That could be a house, that could be the car, that could be a new TV, etc. And so I want to put these into two different buckets. We have our medium to longer term savings goals and then our short term goals. The medium to longer term goals, we're going to classify those as 5 years or longer. The reason I use 5 years is that if we save and invest that money for more than 5 years, we have a greater chance of actually making money if we invest in the stock market, let's say. Whereas if we only are saving for 1 year, stock market might go down this year and we actually lost money. So the longer you have to actually invest this money, the more we can have confidence we're going to make money if we invest in the stock market. So once again, if we have 5 years, that's the 5-year investment bucket, and we can actually invest that in the stock market. Whereas if we have a shorter term goal, like a Christmas present or something smaller that we need, a new couch, etc., and we want to buy that within a year, we don't want to actually invest in the stock market with that money. We want to keep that money in cash because once again, stock market might go up or down this year. We have a lot less confidence in the short term. And so we want to just put that money in cash. We can use a money market or you could just keep it in a savings account because we know we're going to be using it in the next year or so. Once again, all of this, these types of savings, all of this happens after we're putting that 15% into your retirement account. And now we're off and running towards our goals. So let's summarize. First, we need to get a job. Next, we got to remember debt is not our friend. We want to be building wealth, and debt does the exact opposite. Then we need to save towards our emergency fund. That's that 3 to 6 months of living expenses. We need to get that into our bank account. Next, Let's start saving towards retirement. That's that 15% savings goal. And we're going to allow that to compound over a long time to where we're going to be very wealthy when we hit retirement. After that's taken care of, now we can do our short-term and long-term goals. We're going to save towards that. The long-term are going to be 5 years and longer. We're going to invest that money. The short-term, just put it into cash. We're going to use that money within the next year or so. It is so important to understand this in our 20s. Take this really seriously and think about all these different steps towards creating a really strong financial future for yourself, a foundation that you can jump off of into wealth building.
Hey guys, thanks for watching the video. We really enjoyed working on it here at Fisher & Weens.
We think these are super important things to learn in your early 20s. Let us know if there's any other topics that we should cover as well.
Cue the music.
I need it so bad.